Peace and blessings, everyone. It's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boston community. Shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. In this special live stream, I'm going to talk about Southern University sports and news. Now, for those individuals that have not done so, check out a special after hours edition of Bayou Sports Talk, episode 35, last night with myself and Kay. King Ray wasn't able to be on yesterday because he had previous and prior commitments. But if you have not done so, check out that particular After Dark edition of Bayou Sports Talk. Now, many individuals asking, well, Coach, why didn't you have Bayou Sports Talk at its normal time of 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday? Well, the reason being is because I was at Southern University's last Saturday game. Southern University men and women played against Bethune-Cookman. The men lost to the Reggie Theus-led Bethune-Cookman team. They lost 67-61. They were up by about, I'm going to say they were up 11 with about 15 minutes left in the game. However, Bethune-Cookman came back. They overtook the Jaguars, and they went on to win. The previous game, the women's game, Southern University women, they won in overtime 65-59. They were trailing late in the game by about 4. They did an excellent job in terms of coming back, fighting hard, fighting back, and they were able to overcome the Bethune-Cookman Lady Wildcats. Southern University women's team, they had an excellent performance. They fought hard, and I was proud they were able to get the win. I think the biggest issue with me when it came to Southern University basketball this season, of course, night is Monday night. My preference is to always go to Saturday games because if I go to a game on a Saturday, whether it's an early tip-off like it was Saturday or if it's a later tip-off, like usual, like girls tip-off usually at about 4:30, 3:30, somewhere in that time frame. The boys usually tip off about 30 minutes after the girls' game. Usually in those particular instances, we are able to, do what we have to do, get ready for the game, go to the game. And once the game is over, if we want to, go somewhere to eat, whatever the case may be, then we're able to do, whatever we have to do without time restrictions. If I go to the game Monday, first and foremost, there's no telling what type of day it's going to be at work. At my particular school, there's no telling what type of day it's going to be. In addition to that, you have to go to the game. And once the game is over, you have to rush home. You have to get ready for the next day of work, the next work day. So more than anything, my preference has always been Saturday games, whether it's football or basketball when it comes to Southern University sports. Now, for yesterday's game, Cajun Nation, Cajun Seasoning Company, they were the sponsor for yesterday's game. Basically, it's a black-owned Cajun Seasoning Company that's trying to be, like a Tony Chachere, like Slap Your Mom or whatever the case may be. The only difference is, I guess the target audiences, individuals like in my age range, my target audience, my target bracket, that's like their target audience for this particular brand. There's no sodium in the product. There's no GMO, anything like that. So anything is, it's a black-owned company. Basically they're making a tour around the state. They're going to different communities. They're trying to increase their brand awareness. So they partnered with Southern University yesterday. They was the sponsor for yesterday's game. And more than anything, they're trying to get the awareness out about their product. It's a black-owned company, so, hopefully, they can get our support, and hopefully they do big things coming down the line. Now, in terms of Southern University football, early this week, Wednesday, Southern University had walk-ons for the football team because we know spring training is getting ready to kick off. They had walk-ons, and from what I'm hearing, word on the curb is Scotlandville Middle superstar running back and wide receiver, and Scotlandville High School running back and wide receiver John Hubbard. His nickname was John John. He was a real dynamic running back and slot receiver and punt and kick returner. He was one of the individuals that, tried out earlier this week for Southern University's football team. Now, of course, Southern University had if I'm not mistaken, 8 preferred walk-ons, one being Catholic High running back Barry Remo. And in addition to that, you had all the individuals who got scholarships that, I talked about in their 2024 recruiting class. So it's going to be interesting to see which Southern University players make the team. So, from what I'm hearing, John John did well, but it's going to be interesting to see in terms of numbers. You have 8 preferred walk-ons. You have 16 individuals that got scholarships. So I don't know how many scholarships Coach Graves has at his disposal, but it's going to be interesting to see, if he can make the team in terms of John John or John Hubbard, in addition to Barry Remo and some of the other preferred walk-ons that Southern University have and, they tried out. So it's going to be interesting to see not only that, but more than anything, I'm going to be interested to see what spring training looks like for Southern University, going into the spring. They didn't address the quarterback position because, they feel they're set with Noah, who is a Grambling transfer. More than likely, he's going to be, he was the starting quarterback for the Bayou Classic at the end of the year. And in addition to that, he's the most experienced of the 3 quarterbacks that they have coming back. They're tested. Who's going to be a redshirt freshman? Jalen Woods going to be a redshirt freshman. Zay Tested went to Scotlandville High School. So it's going to be interesting to see, how Southern University looks for the spring, for this coming spring, for spring training. I'm going to be at the spring game this season, just like I was last year. I'm trying to, the plan is to do something special for this spring game this year. So, more than anything, hopefully Southern University has a good spring and they can catapult this spring into the fall season. Now, one last thing I want to bring up before I actually get into my final little topic. We didn't talk about FAMU. They finally, decided to hire a head coach with James Collis III. To me, seemed like FAMU should have hired a coach, much sooner than they actually did, because, once you no longer have a head coach and your head coach leaves and he goes to Duke to be the running backs coach and your recruiting coordinator goes to Colorado to be with Coach Prime, to me, they should have just, promoted someone from within. The players were calling for it. They lost a lot of players that re-entered the transfer portal after that. So more than anything, hopefully everything doesn't completely fall out the bottom for them. But from what I'm understanding, now that they are stable in terms of the head coaching position, I think more than anything, players are starting to trend in that direction because, prior to the coaching change, more than anything, they had the number one. Not only did they win a SWAC and the Black National Championship, but they had the number one recruiting class in HBCU under Coach Willie Simmons. And once Coach Willie Simmons left and went to Duke University, some of those, 3 and 4 star individuals that transferred from PWIs like Florida and Florida State and UCF and UIF and all those Florida schools, basically those individuals re-entered the portal. And the fact that they took so long to hire another coach, it really kind of hindered them more than anything. One other topic I want to bring up, before I get into my final topic, is the fact that, we have some of these, one Mississippi politician is trying to closed all the HBCUs in Mississippi, like J State, Mississippi Valley, Alcorn State. Now, when it comes to the SWAC and HBCU just in general, we big on rivalries, like Southern and Grambling, Southern and Jackson State, Southern and Alcorn State, so on and so forth. However, outside of the rivalry aspect of it, HBCUs, especially in the SWAC, it's real family. Even if you look at, the Southern University game I went to against Bethune-Cookman, it was a real family-friendly atmosphere. It was a family-friendly environment. You had sponsors, you had a lot of, families. So, when you go to these SWAC games, it's family-friendly. So more than anything, trying to close, even though, they're rivals, if you're trying to close Jackson State, Alcorn State, Mississippi Valley, they're like brothers and cousins and sisters. Like, you can't close on our family. So more than anything, I think everybody in the HBCU, we need to stick together and make certain that Jackson State doesn't close, Alcorn State, Mississippi Valley, no other school in the SWAC, not just those Mississippi schools, but just SWAC schools in general and HBCU schools in general. Anytime you have a situation where, they close an institution like a Morris Brown, it's not just a reflection on, just one HBCU. It's a reflection on all HBCUs in general, because at any point in time, they could decide, hey, we're going to this HBCU. They could close down that HBCU, so on and so forth. So we want to make certain that, we keep all our HBCUs, intact, keep all our HBCUs up and running. Because like I said, that's like family. Telling me you're going to close Jackson State is like telling me, hey, you have an issue with one of my cousins. And at the end of the day, like I said, in a HBCU realm, HBCU family, we need to stick together. We need to take care of one another, support one another. Like I say, rivalry is good, but more than anything, we need to stick together and we need to be all on one accord. One other thing I want to also point out while I'm talking about HBCUs, I want you to go to the Home Depot. The Home Depot they have their voting through March the 24th. Voting is open now. They have this vote for your HBCU, win a chance at $150K in-campus improvement grant. It's now through March the 24th. All my Southern University fans, Southern University, they're nowhere close to being in the lead. Y'all need to go out and y'all need to vote for Southern University, even though Southern University looks like a completely different world compared to when I went to Southern University, in terms of, a lot of areas that were, just empty land and cow pasture. You have like nice, brand new, shiny buildings. Even if you look at TT Lane, they have a ticker tape in terms of, trading and stocks and so on and so forth. So if you go all around Southern University's campus, it's light years compared to where it was when I was on campus 24 years ago. But more than anything, we need to go out. We need to vote for Southern University so they can have more improvements to the university, to the facilities, so on and so forth. So go to HomeDepot.com, vote for Southern University in terms of, the $150,000 grant to make improvements around Southern University's campus. The last topic I'm going to touch on, former Alcorn State head coach Fred McNair is set to join Southern University coaching staff. Fred McNair, of course, we know he's the former head football coach at Alcorn State. He's set to join the coaching staff at Southern University, according to Jaguar Journal's Reggie Flood, who made the announcement. The development comes months after Coach McNair's anticipated move to become the head football coach at Texas Southern was put on hold. Now, it seemed as if he was going to make the transition from Alcorn State, where he was their head coach, to Texas Southern. It seemed almost certain that he was going to become Texas Southern next head football coach following his departure at Alcorn State. However, Texas Southern Board of Regents, they delayed the decision to approve Coach Fred McNair's contract, leaving the process in limbo. Despite having agreed in principle to a contract with the board opted to go in a different direction when they had time to consider. And eventually they hired former Houston Oilers cornerback and all-pro Chris Dishman to be the head coach because they thought Chris Dishman was the best of both worlds in terms of not only did he have head coaching experience like Coach McNair, but he also had an NFL pedigree like Coach Ed Reed and and Andre Johnson. So he had the NFL pedigree like Andre Johnson and Ed Reed, and he also had the head coaching experience like Coach Fred McNair. So Chris Dishman was the best of both worlds when it came to Texas Southern. So that's why they opted to balk on Coach Fred McNair and pivot and go in a different direction. So with the specifics of Coach McNair's responsibility at Southern, right now they're uncertain. Flood informed HBCU Sports that McNair could possibly have the title of assistant head coach. McNair's coaching credentials include an 8-season tenure at Alcorn State, where he compiled 48-33 overall record, secured 4 SWAC East titles, and led the team to 2 Celebration Bowl appearances in 2018 and 2019. So, it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Fred McNair's role going to be at Southern University. Now, the one thing I want as a Southern University fan is first and foremost for us to give Coach Terrence Graves like an opportunity to be successful. Just kind of have a wait and see approach, not be quick to jump to judgment or rush to judgment in terms of what Coach Terrence Graves is as a head coach, so on and so forth. Let's give him an opportunity and a chance to be successful. But the crazy thing about it is, like the couple people I talked about, Fred McNair becoming a head coach. Becoming an assistant at Southern University. They're already talking about if, Coach Terrence Graves, if he's not successful, basically Southern University administration, they're setting it up to where if Coach Graves doesn't pan out, then Coach Fred McNair will be the next head coach at Southern University, which to me is, I think that train of thinking is, it's not what Southern University fans should have. I think we should give just Coach Terrence Graves every opportunity and every chance to be successful at Southern University. And the thing about it is, I think we just should have an optimistic wait and see approach more than anything. Because, even if you look at, Southern University coaches, I know Coach Richardson, his last year at Southern University was 2008. From what I understood, I don't think it's the case, but from what a couple of people told me behind the scenes, maybe a few years ago, they just finished buying out Coach Richardson's contract. And not the fact that you have Coach Dooley, who's, an assistant at Grambling, Southern University is still paying him. Southern University is not in a position to just constantly just get rid of coaches. So I think we need to give Coach Graves every opportunity to be successful. And we just can't assume that Fred McNair is simply there just to push Coach Terrence Graves out the door and eventually become the next head coach at Southern. And the crazy thing about this entire scenario, the way things played out between Coach Fred McNair and Texas Southern, basically, I think the way things, were set up for him to leave Alcorn and become the head coach of Texas Southern, and Texas Southern, they balked on, their agreement that they had in place with Coach McNair, and basically they pivoted and went in a different direction. And as a result, he ended up landing in Southern. I'm gonna be truthful. I don't think he's gonna be at Southern University that long, from the standpoint of the fact that once this season is over, no matter how things turn out, hopefully we'll have excellent season for 2024 Southern University. Truthfully speaking, I think he's gonna get a head coaching job somewhere else in HBCU land, whether it's another SWAC school, whether it's a MEAC school, or just another HBCU in general. He's gonna be a head coach somewhere else. Shout out to Mike Biggs Boxing. Mike Biggs Boxing, he got 100. Appreciate you, bro. Salute. Also, my brother Jared 11 Green. I'm getting ready to head over to his channel, but of course, support these two brothers, Mike Biggs Boxing, my brother Jared 11 Green. Also, check out my brother Brent Fox. His channel. He does a podcast called "It's Just Me." Usually, it airs on Thursdays or Fridays. He talks about football like myself. He also talks about boxing like myself. So check out Brent Fox with "It's Just Me," his podcast. Also check out the brother Mike Biggs Boxing, also LDBC brother. Also check out other LDBC family members like my brother Cadillac Red, Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. So check out Cadillac Red on Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. Check out the brother Ill Will. Check out him on his channel. But I'm getting ready to head to my brother Jared 11 Green on his channel. We're going to have another edition of the Southern Baller Show where we're going to talk about, the NFL Combine. We're going to talk about basically things in terms of, HBCU players, heading into the NFL draft. In addition to that, we're probably going to talk about, Cam Newton, other topics, so on and so forth. So head over to my brother's channel, Jared 11 Green. We getting ready to have another edition of the Southern Baller Show. Also, if you have not done so already, please go check out the After Hours, the After Dark edition of Bobby Sports Talk, which was last night. Of course, it was preempted due to the Bethune-Cookman versus Southern University men's and women's basketball game. Hopefully you enjoyed this short Southern University Sports and News edition. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Remember, go over to my brother's channel, Jared 11 Green. We're getting ready to kick off the Southern Baller Show. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Have a blessed, phenomenal work week. We'll catch y'all next weekend. Peace and blessings.